So, if you're a professional using AI, you've probably had those moments of brilliance, right? A perfect summary, a fantastic first draft. But then what happens? Too often, it's right back to square one for the next task. Today, we're going to break down a system designed to turn those one off wins into real, repeatable momentum. This is about moving AI from a cool novelty to a core professional advantage.
Yeah, on the left, that's what most of us are dealing with. It's sporadic, fragmented, inconsistent, and the wins just don't add up. On the right, that's the goal. A traction system, something repeatable, systematic, where every single action builds on the last one. The gap between these two isn't just about being a little more efficient. It's the difference between spinning your wheels and building actual compounding leverage.
All right, so here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll nail down the AI traction problem. Then we'll reframe this whole thing as installing a system, not just learning a tool. We'll deconstruct the system's architecture, cover the absolutely critical role of guardrails, and then we'll contrast the outcomes. It's a straight line from messy results to predictable momentum.
Okay, let's dive right in. Section 1, the AI traction problem, or why those amazing but random wins you're getting just aren't adding up to anything bigger. This right here, this gets to the absolute heart of it. The market is flooded with incredible AI tools. Access is not the issue. The real failure point is the missing system, a way to get consistent forward motion. Because without traction, even the most powerful engine in the world just sits there and spins its wheel. So that brings us to Section 2, installing a system. And this is where we need a really critical mindset shift. From treating AI like a fun new toy to integrating it as a true source of professional leverage. And this quote just nails it. This whole thing isn't about memorizing 100 different prompts or trying to become some kind of AI guru. It is about installing an operational process, a system that is designed for one thing and one thing only, to generate traction.
So, how does the system actually build that momentum? Well, it's a very deliberate sequence. It kicks off with immediate utility, something that proves its value right away. That early win builds rapid confidence. That confidence then fuels repeatable successes on real work. Those wins get locked into an installed rhythm, a weekly cadence, and that is what creates real compounding leverage. You see how each step builds directly on the one before.
All right, now let's pop the hood and see how this thing is actually built. Section 3, the core system architecture. We're going to break down the 5 interlocking layers that make this whole system work. The foundation, the starting point, is the task replacement layer. Look, this is not about some grand, complex automation project. It's the entry point. You simply identify that recurring, low-value work, and you safely offload it to create bandwidth. That initial time you save, that's the fuel for everything that comes next. Next up, the decision acceleration layer. Now, with that new bandwidth you've just created, the system focuses on something much higher value, making your decisions better and faster. This layer uses AI to cut right through that analysis paralysis, helping you surface clearer options much, much quicker. And this layer builds on that efficiency. It's the synthesis and compression layer. Just think about all those scattered notes, emails, and documents before a big presentation. This layer takes all that chaos and transforms it into a concise, decision-ready brief. It cuts down your cognitive load so you can focus on the actual decision, not just the prep work. Now we get to a really powerful shift in thinking, the thinking partner layer. This is where AI stops being just an assistant that you give orders to. Instead, it becomes a strategic challenger. Its job is to poke holes in your arguments, to surface your blind spots, and to identify risks before you go down a certain path. It's all about making your thinking stronger. And finally, the layer that makes the whole thing sustainable, rhythm installation. You can think of this as the glue that holds it all together. This is the mechanism that locks your wins into a weekly cadence. It makes sure your progress actually compounds instead of just resetting to 0 every Monday morning. This is the real key to that long-term advantage. Okay, Section 4 is a bit counterintuitive, but it is absolutely critical. It's about guardrails. It's about discipline before you try to scale. And it's about understanding why, in this case, restraint is actually the accelerator. This is such a key insight. Traction isn't about just having a positive mindset or trying harder. It's a system condition. It is an engineered outcome that you create by getting the right variables in your workflow to line up. It's something you build, not something you hope for. And these are the variables we're talking about aligning: The right task selection, realistic time constraints, managing cognitive load, decision frequency, and your own confidence thresholds. When you get this alignment right, AI feels like a superpower, but when you get it wrong, it just feels like another chore you have to do. So, how do you create that alignment safely? With these guardrails, you start small with just one primary tool. You're obsessive about protecting sensitive data. You review every single output. Remember, AI is the co-pilot, you are the pilot. And you only escalate or expand your use after you have hard proof that it's delivering value. This discipline is what builds trust and a stable foundation to grow from. Okay, let's bring it all home in our final section. We're going to contrast the two very different worlds of working with and without a system. The world of sporadic use versus the world of real momentum. First, just look at what a disciplined, systems-based approach prevents. It puts a stop to that endless, fruitless prompt tinkering. It dramatically reduces rework and errors. And crucially, it prevents that erosion of confidence that happens when your results are all over the place. It stops you from trying to over-automate things too early, and it helps you avoid that feeling of overwhelm that causes so many professionals to just stall out. And now on the flip side, here's what the system actually enables. We're talking tangible, measurable time savings, repeatable wins that are tied directly to your real work, clearer, more structured thinking, especially when the pressure is on, faster, way more effective prep time, and the holy grail, a sustainable compounding rhythm that builds a genuine long-term professional advantage. So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Take a hard look at how you're using AI right now. Is your approach building a system where value is compounding week over week, or is it really just creating sporadic bursts of activity surrounded by a lot of noise? Because the difference between those two, well, that's everything.